Hello and welcome back to Dubs Only. Josh Hall with Tyler Rook. That's me. And it's been a minute because the off season is the off season, And the Warriors have been coasting since that championship win. On what was it, June 16th, that fateful day?
Man, it's already been what, 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks.
Wow.
It's been a long time, but
We've
we're
had a
back.
draft since then. We've had free agency start. We've had a lot of stuff going on. We've had some trades, some big ones around the NBA. And the California Classic just kicked off, as well as some other summer league games. It's an eventful
Feels good.
offseason so far.
It feels
3 weeks,
good.
a lot's happened.
Basketball is back. It's a short break for us Warrior fans, but basketball is back. Things to get excited about, prospects to watch, see who the early busts are. What are the trades that are going to happen? Like what's going on in Brooklyn? Who knows?
Nobody knows what's going on in Brooklyn.
Nobody knows. I guess let's just start off with that. Warriors fans. Kevin Durant back to the Bay? Question mark.
You've seen some ideas get tossed around, and it's like the Warriors are interested because how could they not be interested? It sounds like the Brooklyn Nets want the biggest trade return in NBA history,
which I just don't think the Warriors are going to be willing to give up. I mean, if they want the biggest package, it's going to be Wiseman, it's going to be Poole, it's going to probably be PBJ and like the next 5 draft picks we have in the first round,
and Wiggins and Kuminga or something like that.
It would be everybody. And honestly, at this point, I don't think Kevin Durant's worth it.
Yeah.
He is a dog. You can't get that wrong, right? I'm not saying he's not a good basketball player anymore. And I do think he could still win a championship with the right situation around him. Who knows if Brooklyn plays a full season, Ben Simmons and Kyrie actually play and they get games behind them, right? Who knows? But there's just too much drama around him right now to make it worth it.
It seems like he's just he's one of the best basketball players of all time, right? Like talent wise, like he's unstoppable. He's great defensively. He can get wherever he wants on offense. But what I think separates him from the greatest of the great is that those guys on top were leaders. And I just don't see KD as a leader. He's one of the best front runner. He's a front man who can do everything on the basketball court. But in terms of actually like keeping a team together and like that locker room stuff, that behind the scenes, look at what's gone on for him the last several seasons, man.
When your 2 stars are personalities like Durant with Kevin and Kyrie are,
and Ben Simmons,
your best 3
and
players
James
are
Harden.
divas. I mean, Durant is less of a diva than I think Simmons, Harden, and Kyrie are. It's just a different tone. Sure. It's more of like, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be Kevin Durant. This is me. But it's not like being like super like outspoken. It's just like Twitter
dick and stuff. I didn't see this one coming, Like we knew that Brooklyn was a mess. But then when after Kyrie resigns, we thought, okay, they figured it out. That's when KD broke the news. Kevin Durant has requested a trade in person with the Brooklyn Nets. And my favorite part of this is, it's going to shake up the league, whatever happens, if he gets traded, which is fun, But I love how the Nets have said, it doesn't matter about where KD wants to go, or Phoenix or Miami. We're going to trade him to wherever we get the best return package. So yeah. I'm really rooting for like the Sacramento Kings, the Indiana Pacers, or the Orlando Magic to end up with Kevin Durant on a 4-year contract. Like the billboards in Indianapolis, man. Welcome home, KD. Like, can you imagine Kevin Durant? Like, just like you remember when Gronk was traded to the Detroit Lions,
and he just said, "No, I'm done."
and he's like, I would rather retire than play for the Lions. What if KD did that and then signed as a free agent or something with the Clippers?
It would be nuts. It would be nuts. The rumors that have come out, like where it's like the Suns, like what the Suns would have to give up, but the Heat would have to give up, and like what he's requested from the Heat. Like, you think the Heat are able to put a package if Lowry, Butler, or Bam isn't included? There's no way. They don't have Hero and Duncan Robinson are not good enough to be a core pieces in the trade.
And that's
for
what's
Kevin
crazy
Durant.
about like the hypothetical that I don't think will happen. But if the Warriors wanted to trade for Kevin Durant, they could do it pretty well without Steph, Clay, or Draymond.
Like it would basically just be reverting back to that first championship run.
I think it'd be reverting back to 2019.
2019, yeah.
When we had that great lineup. But then when KD and Clay went down, the Warriors' lack of depth really hurt them.
And that's why I think the Warriors won't do it. They're banking on this core to run its course and for the new guys to pick up the slack.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make sense for the Warriors to trade for a third, fourth superstar at this point, you know? It would harm the culture more than help it.
You think if they didn't win the championship, you'd be saying the same thing?
God, no. No. If we lost to Boston in the finals or lost to the Grizzlies in the second round, because, I mean, after the Grizzlies, we all knew we were winning against Dallas. I mean, come on. Denver, we knew was a dub. Anybody who thought the Nuggets would win is an idiot. But you know, like if we lost to Memphis or we lost to Boston, I would be saying make it a smart package, but try your best. You know, I wouldn't want to get rid of everybody. Like, I wouldn't want to trade Wiggins, Poole, Kuminga, Wiseman. I would need to keep somebody from that, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Like the Warriors ownership, like Joe Lacob and Bob Myers, the direction that they have been able to create for this team since Clay tore his ACL was to rebuild through the draft and compete at the same time. And it worked. They won the championship this year. And with how much they've committed to James Wiseman in the first two seasons without him playing, you know, what he's played less than 40 games overall. You just can't see them being like, yeah, all right, we'll trade you and a bunch of other guys for KD. It just doesn't fit. And my mind has gone a little crazy with like what teams like could be the most fun with Kevin Durant. And, you know, if you put that out on NBA Twitter or you go on ESPN, you'll hear Lakers, you'll hear Clippers, you'll hear the Celtics. But I think the Nuggets could be pretty cool with Kevin Durant. Like, think about a trade package centered around Michael Porter Jr. or maybe Jamal Murray, and then like a bunch of draft picks. Just having a KD Jokic duo would be just. Have we ever seen anything like that before?
No. I wouldn't mind being in Chicago, him coming to the Bulls. You put a package around Levine or DeRozan. Vucevic, get Vuce out. They signed Andre Drummond. I'd rather have Andre Drummond be my starting center than Vucevic. I've always despised Vuce. I thought he was a fraud all-star.
Hey, he did the Orlando Magic great service for 5 years. Consistent 20 and 10. He is a fantasy basketball superstar.
The only reason he was ever able to average 20 and 10 is because he was their best player by miles. I mean, they had nobody. It was Aaron Gordon. Look at him now. He's playing a role on the Nuggets, and they can't even get out of the first round.
Man, the Magic are bad.
KD to the Magic, put it in there. Pablo Banchero, make that come true.
Yeah, if KD's going to the Magic, Paolo Banchero is going to the Nets.
I think the Bulls could put a good package together.
What if the T-Wolves did something? Like the T-Wolves just traded for Rudy Gobert. So
the T-Wolves don't have enough
to
give up
that the Nets want. You know, the Nets were probably going to want picks. And then who knows? Like Kyrie Irving can get traded too. It's just
honestly, if there is besides the bias of Chicago, throw Kevin Durant and Damian Lillard together and see what they can do. I mean, come on.
Well, what would the Blazers give him?
It would be Anthony Simmons. You know, he just signed that big deal.
Didn't they just draft Shaden Sharp or something?
Yeah, it would be Anthony Simmons. It would be Shaden Sharp.
A bunch of other picks.
A bunch of other draft picks.
Nurkic.
Throw Nurk Dog in there. They would have to keep Nurk. He's their only center. Jeremy Grant's on a big contract, so if that needs to go to help cap out.
True. He is on the Blazers now. Kind of forgot about that.
Send Gary Payton back to Brooklyn.
KD on the Detroit Pistons.
I think the Pistons are a team to look out for. I think they killed the draft.
Yeah. They're rebuilding. They're finally rebuilding.
It's working to perfection. I mean, Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham next to each other, I think that's diabolical.
Sadiq Bey, 50-point game last year.
Marvin Bagley, I don't care what happened when he was on the Kings. He is still a dog. He is a baller. They gave him a good contract. Look for him to ball out. I will only say bad things about Kelly Olynyk. Don't want to talk about Kelly Olynyk. But Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren as your centers too. Those are dogs. I think that was one of the most disappointing things of draft night is that trade between the Knicks, the Hornets, and the Pistons. Because my team in the AL, or sorry, the
East.
The East. My mind's in football, in baseball, but my team has always been the Hornets. I was a huge Kemba Walker fan, so
Kemba's been getting fucked, dude. Like,
dude, I know.
When Kemba's getting tossed around the NBA,
I feel bad for that man because what he did at UConn and what he did for Charlotte back in the day. I mean, he put that team on his back, but the Hornets really should have killed this offseason, and it's been just going downhill from them. I'd love to get a Hornets fan on the podcast just to see what they're going through, man. I mean, it is bad.
Here's another idea I have.
They had all the hope, but
bear with me here. This might sound a little crazy, but if Kevin Durant got traded to the Pelicans, I think they'd immediately be a contender. They were looking solid last year. They put up a good fight against the Suns, and that was without Zion Williamson.
So, would it be a package around Zion, or would it be a package around Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum?
I don't know, man. I if I'm the Nets, I want Zion, and if I'm the Pelicans, maybe I'd be okay with that.
See, I would say I'd rather have Brandon Ingram if I'm the Nets. I'd rather have a package of Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum in draft picks then I would try to get Ingram, Herb Jones, and CJ McCollum in a couple draft picks. I mean,
Like
I don't think Kevin
that's an
Durant.
interesting option.
I don't think Kevin Durant's worth that. I think Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and like 3 first-round draft picks, and then you throw CJ McCollum on top of that. That just sounds ridiculous to me, just in terms of like how many players and picks for just one man.
Or Kyrie in there too.
Because I'm a fan. I believe it takes a team to win a championship, not a player.
Mm-hmm.
In the only case in modern NBA that I've watched is LeBron James in 2016.
Sure.
But that took a man, not a team.
He also had Kyrie like playing awesome in the finals too.
Yeah. But I mean, that took more of just one man's greatness than a team effort. And we really haven't seen that since. Every team that's won has been a complete team.
Yeah. Really.
But there's a lot of interesting options, and we're just at the beginning of free agency. Like, it is. One. We're 5 days into free agency.
Is that it? Man.
Time has gone by quick. A lot of deals have been dealt. I feel like we need to do like, I don't know, maybe our next episode is just like recapping all of free agency or something.
Right. I mean, well, so far with the Warriors, we've seen a lot more departures than arrivals. I'm in airport talk. I've been at the airport like 2 days in a row, like dropping people off. But yeah, that's beside the point. Warriors lose Damian Lee. They lose GP2, Otto Porter Jr., Wantascano Anderson. Nemanja Bjelica's gone.
He goes to the Euro. He goes to a team in Turkey.
Yeah. The biggest news for the Warriors is Kevon Looney's back, which is big.
3-year deal, what, 25.5 mil?
Something big. Making a lot of money.
It's about 8 mil a year. I think the first year's a little bit under 8. I think they did some cap finagling to make it work in a luxury tax, like a little bit cheaper.
Understanding the luxury tax or the salary cap is a talent that I do not quite possess.
And that's the whole reason why they didn't keep GP2 and why he's with the Trailblazers now.
Yeah, and it sucks to see. You know, I miss that guy already. He's somebody I really wanted back.
All the stars wanted him back too, and they were vocal about it too, which makes it sting even a little bit more. Because I think he embodied the fan base more than anybody. Like, him and JTA. Yeah, him and JTA were just like fan favorites, great and grind. I think the old fans really resonated with their play style and like what they were about. But happy for them to get their paycheck, to go on to their next role. They'll be forever Warriors in my heart.
Oh, for sure.
You win a championship.
It's funny is like I saw like
forever.
Like GP2's gonna get his ring in front of Damian Lillard. JTA's gonna get his ring in front of LeBron. Damian Lee's gonna get his ring in front of Chris Paul and Devin Booker. Otto Porter Jr. is gonna get his ring in front of Scotty Barnes. I miss those guys. Like if you're somebody who's on a championship roster, like you remember them. Like Mo Spates, Leandro Barbosa, James Michael McAdoo, Ojid Kuzmic. Like those guys are our boys. They'll forever be our boys.
I saw James Michael McAdoo at the Chicago airport when he was a member of the G League team for the Philadelphia 76ers. And I said, "What's up, James? Like Warriors fan. Like, good to see you." And he's like, "Thanks, dude."
Dude, that is a great story. It sounds like you guys had a really good bond.
James Michael McAdoo, if you're listening, I love you.
We gotta send this out to James Michael McAdoo. We gotta get James Michael McAdoo on the show.
I think he would do it. But
he's a Warrior forever. However, there is a new Warrior. Dante DiVincenzo is coming our way.
You know, I have mixed feelings about the signings because he is a Villanova boy, and as a Butler graduate, Not a big fan of Nova. We had that with Eric Pascal, so I'm a little bit more used to it now. But he had some big shots and hurt me over the course of my college career.
Yeah.
But he brings a lot of grit and grind. He wasn't super healthy last year. This is definitely a prove it deal for him.
Warriors love those prove it players.
He's a good defensive player. He was showing signs of being able to hit relatively at a high clip outside the arc.
Right.
So a lot of promise there for your 2 guard coming off the bench.
He's a 35% 3-point shooter for his career. He averages about 9 points a game. He's solid defensively. Just another guy you throw into the rotation who can do solid work. I mean, granted, I was saying the same shit about Brad Wanamaker 2 years ago. A consistent guy. He plays with poise. He can hit the open shot.
Trash can.
Man, that year makes the ring so much more worth it too.
I know.
Wanamaker, Bazemore. Imagine the Warriors go for
Kai
Bazemore
Bowman
in free agency. Welcome
Kai
back,
Bowman.
Kent. If Kent Bazemore was on the team,
I
might lose my mind, but at least he'd be playing way less minutes. He would not be starting. He would not be handling the ball. It's just whenever he brought the ball up the court, it's just oh no, it's gonna be a turnover. He's gonna miss a layup.
Oh, torture years. But I mean, the rotation is basically set if everybody is healthy, right? Your 1 through 5 is set. It's not changing. We got Poole, DiVincenzo. You'll see probably Moody be your 3. I think you'll see DiVincenzo and Moody interchangeable in that 2-3. Kuminga at your 4, a healthy Wiseman as your 5. You got PBJ, who will be coming off of injury, rehabbing, just understanding how to play the NBA game. I expect him to go to the G League a decent amount and just get some reps. You got your two-way contracts and Quindre Witherspoon, who won the championship with us. He was in regular clothes the entire time. But then I think he was just signed today. Lester Quineros. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right.
Lester Quinones.
He's
been balling out in the summer in the California Classic.
I think he's a point guard. Haven't watched too much of the California Classic.
No,
I'm telling the truth.
He's been busy,
But that leaves 2 open spots.
We know Ryan Rollins is supposed to be up there too.
Ryan Rollins, he might get a deal there. So that's another spot. The signing of Lester sort of confused me if Rollins was going to be included, because I think what the Warriors needed is a center and a stretch big.
I think it's that Otto Porter Jr. kind of guy, a big guy who can space the floor and grab some rebounds.
He can play 3 through 5 if needed. Right.
The Warriors just need Channing Frye.
What a name right there. What a callback.
Yeah.
Dude, I could not stand Channing Frye when he was on Cleveland.
Channing Frye seems like another guy who ESPN would have on their halftime shows. They already have Kendrick Perkins. They already have Richard Jefferson. Those are 2 Cleveland guys, They're just going for more of those guys. I feel maybe they'll go for Chris Paul when he retires.
Oh man. But I hope Chris Paul retires without a ring. I don't think there's a shot for the Suns to win. That's the crazy thing. This was their year. And
it came crumbling down.
Seed, and it came crumbling down. They're not going to keep Ayton, and Chris Paul is only getting older. Devin Booker is becoming more and more of a I hate Booker, but he's he's just getting older. I mean, he's still in his prime, but I mean, these were your golden years. These were your 3 years. You have a complete team and you failed.
And it was beautiful. But yeah, like they had a really solid team. They were big. They had great switchability on defense. Mikal Bridges was one of the best perimeter defenders in the league. They just fell short. They crumbled. Man.
Chris Paul will forever be a choker.
Yeah. From the site that I'm looking at, like as long as it's not giving me total bullshit, I see some potential names that I'd be solid with on the Warriors. Juancho Hernan-Gomez could be pretty cool. I think
Star of hustle.
Markieff Morris could be solid off the bench. Andre Iguodala.
I think he retires. Or he goes into that Udonis Haslem role where he doesn't play a single minute.
And the Warriors would take that, honestly. Alfonso McKinney.
I wouldn't mind Blake Griffin.
Old man Blake Griffin, though. It's just like, what's he gonna do?
I wouldn't mind Blake Griffin. I wouldn't mind Dwight Howard. I wouldn't mind Hassan Whiteside.
It's hard to see the Warriors grabbing another big man to put in front of James Wiseman. Like, they want Wiseman to play minutes. So I think center-wise, like, they're not going to pick up another center. Especially if we see Wiseman in the summer league. Wiseman just played his first 5-on-5, full contact drills recently, and he's supposed to be back for the summer league. That's a big thing to keep our eyes out for, because the Warriors super summer league team could be out there. Moody, PBJ comes back, Kuminga, Wiseman, Lester Quinones, Gui Santos, Ryan Rollins. Ryan Rollins is hurt, but hey,
I just want some backup. I want some insurance policies. I don't necessarily want somebody to go in front of him. I just want to make sure that if he's not 100% and he can't play every game, that at least the Warriors have a vet who can step in and is okay not playing minutes,
But that's the funny thing, is that they didn't this year, and they won the championship. And we saw Otto Porter Jr. start more games. That's where you want somebody who can just be another body to throw out there.
They don't have that yet.
No, exactly.
They don't have that reliable vet, which I don't know if you're going to get.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're going to get. So.
Trevor Ariza looked pretty rough the last year. Carmelo Anthony can't do a thing defensively. Blake Griffin doesn't do much for that either. Paul Millsap's 37. James Johnson's 35, but I can't remember the last time I even saw him on a basketball court. I mean, the Warriors are missing they always have a quintessential white European guy on the team. Nemanja Bjelica, Jonas Jerebko, Omri Caspi. I don't know, Ogden Kuzmic, I guess. Nemanja Nedovic. We go way back.
Deodorant.
Andres Beatrice. Yeah. There are options. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot could be cool.
I thought he had a lot of potential when he was with the Sixers.
Yeah.
I think he's a long forward, hasn't really shown consistency, but he would be an interesting option. I don't know. There's a lot available. It's just about getting it on a good deal and making sure you don't kill yourself with the luxury tax.
Right. And that's where you and I don't understand the situation as much, because it's just so complicated.
There's so many little details that have to be calculated.
Yeah. And I think, let's say the Warriors sign one of those guys who's available right now, fills that auto kind of slot. I believe that gives them one open roster spot. And we saw them do that last year They didn't use that like mid-level player exception. I could see him doing it again, waiting through training camp to see who they might decide on. They did it with GP2 and it worked out pretty well. You can't expect that again from a 15th man. I also don't think GP2 is going to bring the Blazers like to the next level like he did with the Warriors. It's just not the same, but it will be fun. And like, I'm going to root for him. And I'm so glad he got his bag, but I don't think the Warriors like complete their roster with completely. I think they'll do the same thing again because they're so tight on money and it worked for them the first time.
Because they got a lot of things to figure out for next year. And all these moves that they're making now are sort of geared to next year when they have to re-sign Poole, have to figure out what they want to do with Wiggins. How are they going to extend Clay and Draymond and
I think Poole and Wiggins are the next two. Like they could start negotiation with contract extensions for the both of them. So that might be next, but it doesn't have to be now. It could be in the fall.
I think both of them happen next off season, because they don't have to agree with a contract. Like you can match any offer for Poole. Like you can wait it out. Same with Wiggins. I don't think Wiggins would want to leave anyways.
They just want a championship, man.
Yeah. I think next year there's going to be a lot more because of the way the books open up. And also, if you're looking that far ahead, you're looking at extending Clay and what type of contract will Clay deserve. It's all going to depend on how he performs this upcoming season.
Right.
Because, and that will play a lot. Does he take that discount that, that some stars sacrifice to make a team great,
a lot of questions, man. A lot of questions. Warriors ownership totally believes that the Warriors are still a bona fide contender in the NBA. I'd say the contending teams right now are the Warriors, the Clippers, the Celtics, and the Bucks. Maybe the Suns.
Suns got to figure out their shit.
Maybe the Grizzlies.
Grizzlies will always be in there. They'll be tough. I don't think the Lakers repeat their horrible season.
No, I think they'll be better, but I don't think they're at the top.
Dallas, I think they got better despite I don't think Brunson's worth that money. So like good riddance in my opinion.
And Christian Wood's solid.
Christian Wood's a really solid piece.
It's just gonna be interesting. Like, how do you build a team around Luka to be the best? Luka's amazing. But just like we don't know yet. We haven't seen it. I feel like the Mavs have kind of always been that same level. You know what you're going to get with the Mavs.
Right. Yeah. I think depending on how the Sixers do, the Sixers could be Miami will always be in contention.
They got PJ Tucker.
I'm a fan of the Raptors. I like what they're doing.
I feel like they're just a piece away too. Like the Celtics got Malcolm Brogdon. Steal. They got him. They stole Malcolm Brogdon. That's going to be great for them. I didn't like that.
Well, I don't know what the Pacers were doing there, but I think the NBA has finally sort of leveled out. I think for a long time, it was like clear which division is better.
Oh, yeah. It was the West for like a long time.
It was the West for the longest time. And now these teams have rebuilt well. They've got the right pieces in free agency, and it's more competitive, and it's really fun. It's really fun to not really be able to predict how everything's going to play out.
That's why we love it, right? Where will Kevin Durant play next? Like, there's so many questions that in so many directions that we can go in, but all we know is that like this is what we love, like this, and seeing the chaos that's going around the NBA, and sitting back and relaxing, knowing the Warriors just won the championship, they're bringing back the same core next year, and they're going to be a contender. It's not such a bad spot to be in, and that's why I think that On our next episode, we're going to dive even deeper to free agency, reviewing it all, talking about the whole NBA, not just the Warriors, but about what teams we like and what we think other teams could do to make their next step. I'm excited. I say it at the end of every episode, but I am excited. So I will not deny that, and I will not hide it.
It's going to be a great off season.
Yeah.
I'm excited to watch more summer leagues, see some of those pieces we want to see across all teams, and just gear up for the new season.
Gear up for the repeat, huh? Huh? There's so much more to do. There's so much more to talk about, but that should be it for tonight. So, it may not have been a dub exactly tonight because there was no game played. It's not how we usually do it, but it's the off season. We're rebooting. We're retooling again for next season, and there's so much more to talk about. So, hey, go Warriors! And
go Warriors!
And the NBA is a crazy place, and I can't wait to talk more about it next time.
Peace.
Peace.